What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. As you can see, I'm rocking the shirt because it's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you and all that jazz and all that great stuff. So let's talk Star Wars. Let's see here. Got a couple of y'all in here already. Uncarded review. Not going to lie, the Hot Toys pre-orders were mostly underwhelming in my opinion. Oh, well, money saved. Yeah. See, that's interesting because I was pretty excited with this first reveal that I'm going to break down because it was really exciting to me. Something I hope that Hasbro will take note of and actually bring us in the Star Wars Black series. 80s kid from the 90s. What's up, guy? Happy Star Wars Day. What's up? I've been celebrating all day, ridiculously so. May cap it with a little bit of Clone Wars to wrap the evening. We'll see what happens. Comfortable. I am too. Good afternoon to you as well. Robert's Infinite Realms. What's up? James, what's going on, my man? So yeah, so I was thinking what to do about Star Wars May the 4th Day. Hasbro showed off a bunch of new reveals for the Black Series line. I was really excited about a lot of them. I thought when they showed off that clone trooper, we were going to see some super battle droids, some battle droids, and I was just like, come on, guys, let's do the thing. 80s kids from the 90s. I got the Gamorrean figure yesterday. I can't wait to review it. Yeah, I have been seeing those guys in Target and they look really, really impressive. And their size and their price kind of helped me out, more so the price. I'm hoping to at least get two of them eventually when they decide, oh, we don't need these figures anymore. Because as we always see, as we always know at this point, at some point, those Hasbro figures are going to get clearanced out. And it's going to be this thing of, I paid twice as much for this that they're selling for now for $15. So I'm trying to wait it out and see what happens. Adrian Pieper, what's going on? Happy to see you. Hopefully this is the first of many that you'll be back for. You drank a lot of blue milk today. Nice. Amperu would be proud. Skew Raider, what's going on? All right, well, let's see here. Let's take a look at these reveals. The one that got me so excited first thing this morning before I slept and saw it and was like, oh, shoot, let's get it. Kelly Cox, what's going on? It was the one and only from Clone Wars, something that Hasbro seems to keep ignoring. It's the one and only Darth Sidious. And this figure had me so excited to see. I was like, wow, you guys are actually doing this figure. And I love the menacing little glare, this pose with him looking semi-innocent, which is great. That's Darth Sidious. This is the jerk who's going to go after Darth Maul and Count Dooku's apprentices and just be a real pain and terror beyond what he did in the series. But I love how they did his hood so it can kind of flow with him. See those shoulder pads, the lightning bolts. It's a really nice figure. And this head sculpt is truly great. Ian McDermott looks really fantastic with his head sculpt and the lightsaber. I got to imagine it will actually light up, but this is cool. They're the lightning bolts. I mean, this thing looked great. And it wasn't too expensive. It's $265, so that's definitely a lot cheaper than most of these modern day Hot Toys figures. I always love this rolling eyeballs technique that they do. I think that is really fun. And this is the shot that sold me on this figure. It's like, oh man, I can put Sidious against Darth Maul. And then I know that they put out Savage Opress. I am done. I'm going to grab those guys right away. But yeah, I love those lightsaber blades they set up where it looks like it's in motion. I think that's a really great effect. And you just do this matchup again. So cool. And I cannot wait to see more Clone Wars figures coming from Hot Toys. And this guy looks amazing. I love that shot. That's just like him after he's wiped out people. And then just the good. So yeah, this is a really cool figure. And that's that glare that you know and love and hate from the Emperor, the man who would be the Emperor. That's the collage of everything that comes with him. And I'm just excited to get this in my collection. Looking forward to getting this guy. And I can't understand why Hasbro hasn't done this either. Ahsoka and Clone Trooper look awesome. Yes, let's get to them too, because I was very excited about them as well. But this Clone Trooper, since you mentioned it, is fantastic. I love the detailing. I love how it can actually hit this pose. The knee pad doesn't look crazy and janky anymore. They made it so it can actually move up and down on the knee depending on how you have it posed. Really, really like that. And then we get this action shot. It's really great. So I'm just digging it the most, as the outsiders would say. And then Ahsoka, of course, the character I came around on after watching Clone Wars through its entire run. But she looks really cool. I love this head sculpt, her lightsabers, the green ones. I love that she could actually hit this pose like she's going, Master. But yeah, I really love those reveals. And then we had this guy I've never heard of before, but I need this figure, Darth Malgus from the Knights of the Old Republic game. Just love all that detail in his armor, the hood piece, the mask. He looks really cool. And I love this shot here showing him with the hood coming up. He's a really impressive, menacing looking figure. And then yesterday we also saw the return of the window. It's like Return of the Mac. The window is back, baby. So we get to see all these cool accessories that come with the Mandalorian himself, the Darksaber, his jetpack, the blaster, and the knife too. Really happy to see all of those things there. Then the Darksaber, the cloth cape, so you can put both of them on. Very exciting times there for Star Wars collectors. So let's see here what we're getting into. What's everybody think so far? Adrian, yeah, it definitely is a thing of beauty. Unlimited power. Exactly. That is, I love that part. Oh, I hadn't seen Sidious yet. Yeah, he's very tempting. And I forgot to show you guys the other one that they showed late this morning, whichever you look at it. Commander Fox, one of the clone commanders. Love that chest decal. The paint job on him looks really, really good. And so these are just some of the shots, the accessories he comes with. I can't army build a bunch of these clones in Hot Toys format. I have to say that for the Black Series, but he really looks great with all this paint detail. And you can see him with the Emperor's clone shock troopers. Really looks cool. He's got more maroon than the standard red of the shock troops. You see him in action there. It looks really great. And I wish I had the money and the space to army build clones in Hot Toys because these figures look so good. Got the long blaster, the small blasters, checking in, getting that Order 66 call. Now they're really going after Jedi here. I mean, it's just, these look amazing. And that's all the collage of all the details, the accessories, not as kitted out, not as loaded up as some of these other figures, but I think they did a fantastic job with him as well. Yes, Commander Cody, the time has come. Execute Order 66. What's up, Hank V? How you doing out there? I'm wanting Quinlan Voss or CW, Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker from season 3. Yeah, I kind of feel like we need a lot more of these Clone Wars figures. And it's like, okay, we get 1, we get 2, and yay, but I really want to see a whole lot more from Hasbro. We got those Clone Wars anniversary lines, and those are cool, but I feel like that's just so much untapped potential where we should get 2 or 3 Clone Wars series every year. And Kelly, yes, they use a floating kneecap, and it is a huge improvement over the other one because that was kind of wonky the way they set up. Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO. Darth Maul is free to play. Oh, well, that's great news. Is this on stream or Xbox? Because I have a PlayStation and I haven't gotten around to double dipping like a seriously responsible adult. I'm buying too many figures to buy 2 game systems. Vision Season 2, that's right, it did come out. Yeah, I need to check that out. 80s Quinlan Voss. All right, so there's another fan. Robert says, I like Malgus. Is he bigger because they gave him a deluxe price? And I can't remember if he's bigger in the game. You know, he's $33, but he's a case where I can almost feel a little bit justified in going after them because of all that detail they put. You know, I'm really not digging when they go, hey, here's a Boba Fett figure that we released over and over again. And here is the same figure we've already charged you for. This, you can see there's a bunch of original sculpting, a bunch of original detail. And it's like, okay, I'm not too upset about paying for this figure because it's got a lot of stuff in there. And it's a lot of stuff that they're not going to be able to just reuse for every other figure. So I really like that. Let me know what some of these other Knights of the Old Republic figures, characters you guys want to see. I'm a Gun D would be a good Black Series figure. Cad Bane season 4 would be cool too. Yes. Any Cad Bane that I can get from Clone Wars, I want. Ski Raider's a big fan of it too. Ski Raider, he's bigger. Hope the Black Series. He looks like it from the size of the figure when they were rotating them in and out. He looked like he was substantially bigger than a lot of those other ones. So I'm really excited to see. Free to play on PC. I've got a PC, so I'm going to play it. Thank you very much, Ski Raider. Appreciate that. Adrian, my favorite, like a lot, Fox. Now I don't know if I should buy Fox or Wolf by Sideshow. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. It's like if you start to go down the path of getting too many of these clones, you're going to be like, well, I got to get this one. It's another one. So many to get. Where's our Clone Wars Bosk and Boba? Yeah, we definitely need young Boba. I feel like I said, there are seasons of characters that they're missing that we just don't have, and it's really odd and really weird that we don't have them. So I want to put this question out to you guys before I get into everything. What are some of your favorite? What's your favorite Star Wars memory moment? For me, it had to have been in the drive-in, watching Empire Strikes Back, laying out in the back of my parents' car, watching this big revelation when Luke gets the biggest bombshell of all times. I just remember the sky, the night, and watching it on this big screen going, what? So love that. Let me know what some of your favorite Star Wars memories are. The only caveat to this is if it has to do with Jedi, Fallen Order, Survivors, don't mention it because I'm sure not everybody's played it yet. So if that's one of your favorite moments, hold on to that for a minute. We'll get to it soon. The wait for my bids is agonizing. Okay, my vids. Oh, well, thank you, Brian. I'm hoping to keep putting them out and faster so everybody can check those out. I really appreciate you actually wanting to see them. That's cool. 80s kid from the 90s. I thought it was lazy of Hasbro to release Bo when they just released her recently. What about Cad Bane re-release? I want Cad Bane's droid re-released as well. I thought that was weird because I felt like I didn't remember anybody having a problem saying, oh, we need Bo-Katan. I felt like more people were complaining about not getting that Bad Batch Hunter and Crosshair and no mention of Bo-Katan. It's kind of weird. And you agree too, comfortable. Empire was the first one I watched. Revenge of the Sith was my first in theaters. Wow, yeah. I remember when I saw Revenge of the Sith, and we were at this theater that's really cool. It's called Uptown. It's a massive theater, and it had like a balcony, so we were able to sit up there. And right before the credits were about to start, I was like, this is going to be the last Star Wars movie I ever see in theaters. And how little did I know that was going to be wrong. And about half the time, that would have been a good thing because, Rogue One and Solo were pretty good. But man, that was really something, seeing Sith and going, wow, this is going to be it for Star Wars. Skew Raider, watching Empire Strikes Back with my mom. Ty was seeing episode 4 on cable before, after that, when about the same age, also with mom. Watching Jedi with mom and cousins in 1983, three-way tie. Nice. The original trilogy is still, I think, for a lot of us, that nostalgia spot that just hits so hard that you think of movies. When you think of Star Wars, you think back to when you were huddled up in a blanket watching it with your parents, because how else are you going to see these movies and maybe your siblings and just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then how every other sci-fi thing just wasn't as cool as Star Wars. I'm like, it's Battlestar Galactica is okay. Yeah, Buck Rogers is fine, but it's not Star Wars. Kelly, Empire of the Drive-In, that is epic. Yes, and we actually have a drive-in that's about an hour out from us, but it's so worth it. And I was able to see Avengers Infinity War, and then the next year come back and see Endgame there. And I felt like that's the kind of presentation that needs it all around. Like I went to the glitzy movie theaters, but seeing it in the drive-in kind of legitimizes it as an all-time great movie for me, being able to see it on that presentation. Comfortable. I was waiting for somebody to say this because certainly one of my modern ones. The one moment of recent memory would be Luke's true return in Mando season 2. How great was that? It was so great. And you queued me up so perfect. So I got this in the mail yesterday from Hasbro Pulse, and I kind of opened it, but I don't know if you guys have been ordering things from Hasbro Pulse lately, but this is how this came. And I was like, wow, this is really good. There should be no way this figure gets messed up. So I removed this trap. And somehow the box is still damaged to all Hades. Fortunately, I'm a box opener, so it doesn't matter. But gosh, it is terrible. I don't even understand. It was packed in tight in the box, but somehow it came out like this. But yes, Luke from Mandalorian season 2. And I was no lie jumping up like I was 8 years old on the couch watching it because I was not spoiled. And when they started doing every little teaser, like, oh my gosh, I think this is actually Luke. And it blew my mind. I was so happy. I don't think I slept till like 3 hours later because I was just so amped up seeing Luke Skywalker, my favorite movie hero, back in his true glory, not trying to kill his nephew and whatever else the heck they were doing in those sequel trilogies with Luke, with Han, with Leia, etc. But yeah, it was so cool to actually see him tearing down those dark troopers and just going into action. I cannot wait to open him and save him from this box. And again, I wish we had the plastic window, but eventually, soon enough, it'll get there. Skew Raider, absolutely. You were right there too. Drive-ins were so cool. Kelly, I don't know where you are, but maybe check out because I had no idea there was a drive-in around us, and I was like, "Whoa, here's one!" And so I take that long trek out, the hour up, hour back, just because. And the way our drive-ins now, they normally pack at least two. Most of the time, they're three. On Memorial Day weekend, a while back, they did a four movie quadruple feature. So they had Coco, which was good. They had Solo, and then they did Avengers Infinity War, and then they did Black Panther. I really would have stayed until like 6 a.m. if they had swapped Black Panther and Infinity War. And I've been like, all right, well, there's the sun. Time to go home. But yeah, check them out. You may be able to find them because they're amazing to watch movies like that now. 80s kids from the 90s. I was rewatching Rebels season 1 on DVD today. Now I prefer Rebels. I don't know if it's a tie with Clone Wars. That's the thing. It was funny because I started watching Clone Wars and then I was able to just go right into Rebels. And it took me a while to get into Rebels because I was like on that high of all that emotion, the drama, and the really well-developed characters. And was like, okay, I'm getting into these new characters. Not really sure if I'm feeling them, but now I'm like, yeah, I really enjoy the Rebels characters. And I'm so excited about possibly seeing all of them, for the most part, on Ahsoka. And I can't wait to see how those show up in live action. The arts and craft wrappings cracked me up. Yeah, it was weird because it's like this recyclable material, but somehow it still didn't even get the job done. I mean, this box was so tiny and small. It should not have had any crushing, any damage whatsoever. And I'm just amazed that it was able to come boxed and messed up. So yeah. Robert's Infinite Realms, watching episode 4 when it hit first before the word of mouth spread and had no idea what I was in for. 6-year-old me couldn't believe what I saw in Empire 3 years later. Yeah, I mean, those were so exciting. And my brother and I, we have a VHS tape, and I don't even know if we can play a VHS tape anymore, but I still have the one where Star Wars came on TV. We recorded it, and it was some anniversary, so to give you an idea, and all the stars from the show and just stars from that era were talking about the impact of Star Wars, and I think that's where I started memorizing all the lines and exchanges from the film. But yeah, it's a really special time with those. Skew Raider, Emperor Palpatine's crafting school complex, craft unlimited shipping product. Glue them my menus. Yeah, I mean, he may have been shooting some lightning, so they were like, who cares? Just throw this Luke Skywalker in any old way. When Vader appeared on Rogue One, I saw it on the cinema. I'm 22, so I didn't get to watch the old movies of Star Wars in cinema. So seeing that, the pop that Vader received made me feel chills. That's a really cool one to watch on the big screen because I popped and I was so, oh no, these guys are in major trouble. And that scene was so magic, and I really loved Rogue One because I wasn't expecting anything from it. I was kind of like, do we really need a movie about how the Death Star plans were stolen? And like 5 minutes in, I was like, oh yes, we do. And that whole ride was great. And then it kind of dawned on me like, wait, these characters aren't around in the original trilogy. What happens to them? And it was like, oh man, they're getting taken out one by one by one. And then we get to the ship and Vader's taking out anybody else who's left and he's tearing through them. And I think that's why this moment in The Mandalorian resonates so well with me because we're kind of getting the mirror of Luke tearing through the dark troopers like Vader did in Rogue One. So I just love that symmetry between those two moments. It's like, this is really cool. 80s kid from the 90s, Shock T and Arc Trooper from Black series. Oh, okay, yeah. We need Shock T. I don't get why we don't have her. I feel like there's 10 Prime Jedi from the whole clone saga that we don't have yet. We're finally getting Ki ID Mundi later. He's a pipeline reveal, so we haven't actually seen him in full prototype form. But yeah, Shock T. We got Ayla finally. It's just, man, we definitely need a better new Kit Fisto while we're at it. Oh man, Kelly, the drive in is the closest one is 4 hours away. We'll only save it for the really important movies. Maybe Avengers, Secret Wars, and the Kang Dynasty. Agent Callus season 3 era, Ezra. We need the entire we need the entire Rebels crew on a Black Series line, like how they've done the Bad Batch season 2 looks. We need the season 3, season 4 looks of the Phoenix Squadron because they're so different. And I would happily put up a whole other display of them because they're so cool. Let me see if my phone will cooperate so you guys can see. Because in the spirit of May the 4th, I decided to take a picture because you guys asked for it of my display. So here you go. That's my Phoenix Squadron and Bad Batch and Ahsoka and her clones. If you can see, it's on Instagram, so you can actually see it better. But yeah, it was really fun having that set up. And I would happily set up another shelf display for those season 3, season 4 looks of the Rebels crew because yeah, I really enjoyed the ride with Rebels, and it was like, this is really fun. Dana Ruiz, how are you doing? My favorite memory is watching the final arc of the Clone Wars. My sister was next to me watching me cry my eyes out. Another was seeing Ahsoka in live action for the first time. She's my favorite Jedi. Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like they tried so hard to make Rey everyone's favorite Jedi, but everyone who watched Clone Wars was like, well, I mean, we got Ahsoka right here. Why do we need and care about Rey? And it's so cool seeing that Ahsoka's still around. So I'm looking forward to watching her show. But those final 4 episodes of Clone Wars were so amazing. It was like, this feels like a movie. And they did everything so well. And Darth Maul's monologue was like, this guy's great. Sam Witwer is so awesome in his role. And the fight with Ahsoka, the whole revelation of Order 66, the payoff on that was really, really cool. Roberts, I'm with you on Rebels. I came around to it, but at first it didn't ring with me. Yeah, it was funny because I'm rewatching Clone Wars now, and I felt like a lot of those early episodes initially on my first watch were just kind of like, but I'm like, nah, the whole first season was really good. I'm really digging it, really into it. And I'm starting to watch the whole Mandalore saga all over again. And I decided maybe I'm going to try the impossible thing and get my wife to watch Clone Wars with me. So I may start all over, but I've been writing a list down of the important episodes, the ones you really should watch. These kids from the 90s. I remember a time when Lucasfilm didn't care about spoilers when releasing figures. Oh man. So I don't know about you guys, but when Phantom Menace was coming out, I couldn't get enough news and hype and all that stuff. And this was really before everything would get spoiled online beforehand. And I just so happened because I'm super obsessed with Star Wars, clearly. And I was picking up the CD, the soundtrack, and was like, oh wow, let's see what are the songs on here. And then on the back, it has a track listing, Qui-Gon Jinn, Funeral Pyre. I'm like, well, darn it, now I know this guy's gonna die. And I didn't know who Qui-Gon Jinn was to a large extent, but then the movie's like, oh, this guy's going to die because I know from the soundtrack he's going to die. But man, yeah. And it's funny because now we have to wait like 2 years before characters in TV shows and movies because they don't want us to know any spoilers. But I think I kind of prefer this way now. I mean, the way we have it back in the day than right now where it takes so long to get characters. We're just finally starting to get those Andor characters in figure form in stores. And it's kind of weird. 80s kid from the 90s, Rogue One was insane. It was so great. And I felt what made Rogue One so spectacular was it was so much different from everything that had come before it. That's also why I love Andor, because it's showing how the rebellion's getting formed kind of brick by brick and not this simple, clean, imaginary, perfect way. But it's like these guys really scrapping together to make this thing happen. I think when you pair that with Rebels, you get a really good sense of how much effort and time it took to develop this rebellion to fight this nearly 20-year reign of the Empire. Mace Windu. Yes. They've released one of him, and it's kind of like, well, Mace doesn't really change his look whatsoever. I would be okay getting a Clone Wars with the gauntlets Mace Windu to go along with that one we got with the robe and all that good stuff, but I kind of want every Jedi who's on Clone Wars to have their Clone Wars look and armor too, just so I can put them up on the Clone Wars display. Kit Fisto and Plo Koon, yep, 100%. Bree West, how you doing? Great channel. I enjoy the Star Wars talk. I buy only my favorite characters in Black Series. I'm a vintage collector and very excited for Retro 6-pack to finish off the first 12 Kenner figures. Yeah, thank you very much for those kind words. Let me pull up that retro set because it's funny. Clearly, I'm of the age where I was buying all of those retro figures and they were really great to collect. And I still have some of those old figures. And no, I won't be getting rid of them just because it's like there's no chance of that. Holding on to them to the bitter end. But yeah, it's really great having those figures. And I think the vintage collectors are really making out really cool with them, with all those cool figures. So you mentioned it. Here you go. The Retro Collection Star Wars, A New Hope collectible figures multi-pack, $70. That seems expensive, but you know, that's Hasbro these days. But yeah, it's so funny looking back in these figures with the robes and the cloaks and how they're just set up in this really interesting plastic cape fashion. But those were fun figures, and you know, nothing really replaces that feeling even now of getting those old figures with the telescoping lightsabers and staffs and all that good stuff. And just like, wow, I have Star Wars in my hands. And I guess I'm kind of doing that now as an adult, but it's really fun collecting Star Wars and all these different collectibles and all these different fashions, where it's vintage collection, Black Series, Hot Toys if you've got the money, all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, totally with you. Can we get a remake of Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi? Dog, man, I still have. I really went away from the Black Series for a long time because I was like, these likenesses, the articulation sucks. I'm not down with it anymore. And those figures that really pushed me over the edge were the Revenge of the Sith, Anakin, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like their likenesses are awful. It felt like they were going backwards with how great they look with the Luke Skywalker from the first series, the Han Solo, which was pretty good outside of the way the paint was, because you could see the sculpt was awesome there. It's just the paint didn't make it look as good. But that Obi-Wan Kenobi looked terrible. The Anakin was bad. And we really need better versions of them. So I guess we're 2 more years away from the anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. I guess that's when Hasbro's going to flood us with more of those figures. But I kind of don't want to wait. I think we need to get these figures now because there's still a lot of characters from Revenge of the Sith that have never had a figure that we should get and get in figure form sooner. Luminera, Barriss, and a new Rex. All 3 want them for sure. Barriss was such a great character in Clone Wars, and I think one of the best things about Clone Wars was how it fleshed out these characters who are just kind of in the background in the movies, but then they get these really great, strong arcs in the show. And it's like, oh man. And I still have that hardwired kid mentality. Oh, I saw that on the big screen, or I saw that on a TV show. I want to figure that, even though they're on screen for 2 minutes. But yeah, all 3 of those for sure, because I still need a Captain Rex in my collection. And I feel like he would be an ideal archive figure to re-release, put back out there to the masses. Skew Raider, awesome display pick of Rebels, Bad Batch, and Clone Wars. Thank you. Like, that is the only section of my longer, wider Star Wars collection that doesn't have half the figures downstairs in the basement waiting for me to shoot them. Because when I did the Dark Troopers setup, that review, I took down basically all of my Mandalorian figures on that shelf beside Grief Karga. So they're all just kind of waiting around for me to bring them back up and put them back in the display. But at the very least, I can show you these Dark Troopers that I did shoot because they were really fun to do and bring those guys out and army build the mess out of them like I promised I would. I don't know if any of you guys were lucky enough to catch them when they were on sale today at Amazon for $11.99. They've since sold out, but it was cool actually seeing them for that price. And I was like, well, I could use some more Dark Troopers, and especially now that I've got Luke Skywalker in hand. So yeah. And Beltran, what's up? The Empire is my favorite, but Return of the Jedi was iconic for me. The last 2 films destroyed the franchise for me, but I still enjoy the lore. Yeah, I feel like the biggest issue with those last two sequel trilogy films, they were clashing with each other. It clashed with the one that came before. It's like The Force Awakens, I feel like set up an okay-ish thing where they could really do some cool stuff. And then it was like, what are y'all doing? Now you're killing Luke off. And then the next one, Rise of Skywalker, just blows up everything because I can't wrap my head around the fact that a guy who spent 2 decades planning this war, this siege of the entire republic, would all of a sudden blare on his PA system, "Hey y'all, I know you all thought I was dead, but I'm back." And in all of his time ruling the empire, the galaxy, he was able to hook up with somebody and then had a kid, and then they had a kid. I'm like, what's going on? I mean, did anyone think that part through? Because it really bothered me. Let's see. Clone Wars, Savage, Imbo, and Ventress. Savage is definitely somebody we need, and he would make for a deluxe figure just to give him the full bulk, the size. Boy, I mean, I feel like Hasbro keeps missing the ball on all the Clone Wars figures because I feel like they could just keep cranking them out, giving us those commando droids, the tactical droids, and so many battle droids with just random pieces ripped off or whatever. But we haven't gotten any of them. There's so many random Jedi they could put as well. It's just they're not taking full advantage of it like they should. I went to Return of the Jedi in the theater last Friday. It was great fun. Oh man, I forgot that should. I'm seeing those in theaters, and I didn't realize that was now. It should. I want to see that in theaters again too, just to rekindle those emotions, those feelings, like I did with the special editions came out. Like, oh man, Return of the Jedi, Empire, and Star Wars back on the big screen. And I like some of those changes when they had Luke yelling like, when an Empire Strikes Back. It's like, this is terrible. He would never say that. He did that on purpose. And the only change that they still kept on that I hate so much in Empire is when Vader saw Luke drop down. He's mad and he's like, alert my star shuttle to prepare for my arrival. When in the original version, he's like, bring me my shuttle. He's pissed off, and that would be as much dialogue as Darth Vader would have in that moment. I have all the original figures from A New Hope except one, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Wow, that's impressive. Are you going to get the retro version to kind of complete the set, or are you going to try to track down the actual old school version of it? Because that is a pretty cool collection. British Invasion 91, love your channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching and commenting. That's cool. Roberts, I really like seeing individual Jedi in Clone Wars because I was really fascinated by those Jedi who got a few seconds of screen time. I really think that was the greatest thing they did with Clone Wars because you got to dive in so many characters and get so much. And as much as I loved Attack of the Clones, and I know I'm one of those few, but I loved how Anakin was an awkward teenager around the first girl he had a crush on. That made sense. That checked out. I too was awkward around girls that I liked as a teenager and into an adulthood. And then Revenge of the Sith was great, but we got so much more of the story from Clone Wars, and we got to see Anakin as a full true hero. And it kind of made me mad at the Jedi because it's like, why aren't you listening to this guy? He's a hero. You're freaking war, and you guys are still treating him like garbage. So yeah, it was really interesting watching all that play out. Darth Sidious. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why we don't have a Darth Sidious, why we don't have a Yoda from the prequels. It's just, come on, what are y'all doing? My wife said, aren't all Anakin's bad? That's a good one. But yeah, he is. But I gotta get my Anakin figures. Clone Trooper kicks, Waxer, and Boyle. Every clone trooper, I mean, I feel like if they just kept releasing 2 clone troopers in every wave, I would buy them and not complain. You're not going to ever hear me going, oh man, another battle droid, another super battle droid, another clone. I feel like this is their license to print money, and they're just burning it because we'll just make more money with these other new characters that no one really cares about. Separatist commando droid. Yep, for sure. 80s kid from the 90s. They ruined Luke in that trilogy. I just really do the Men in Black thing and it just go like this and act like those sequels never existed because I feel like they're on Counter Earth, just something that did not happen at all. Speaking of Counter Earth, let me know what you guys think about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I was able to go to a screening and finally wrote up my review for it. I know a lot of press were able to last week, but I finally was able to. And I'm really excited to see what everybody thinks about it because I felt like Guardians Volume 3 was more of an Infinity Saga film as opposed to a multiverse saga film. Douglas C. Rocha, greetings from Rio de Janeiro. Hey, how's it going? I enjoyed to see a new Star Killer figure. The character is incredible. Ben Skywalker would be nice too. Yeah, I feel like somebody at Disney is like, no, you can't make these great, cool figures because why haven't we gotten so many of the video game characters? I don't understand why we have Cal Kestis as the one human character from Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, Saw Gerrera, Sarah, Naren, there's so many characters just from that they could draw from. More Inquisitors, and especially like the third sister. I don't understand why we're not getting those figures because it would be so great. And Star Killer, man, I mean, come on. He'd be a great figure, and I just would love to see what they do with him. I may get hate, but as much as I don't really like the sequels, I want to get figures in the Mural Galaxy line. Like, my thing with those characters were they were pretty decent characters based on, the write-up, the summaries of them. I just felt the execution was terrible. Like Rey and Finn and Poe were solid characters. I just felt like the writing did them a true disservice. And I felt like the whole issue with the sequel trilogy was the writers felt like, are we doing Star Wars original trilogy homage, or are we doing this new direction? I feel like I would have loved those characters if Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, C-3PO, R2-D2, Lando were nowhere near it, and the Emperor were nowhere near it. Like if they were just fighting the First Order, this remnant scarred group that came to replace the Empire 20, 40 years down the road, that would have been fine. Just the way they kind of had to do the comic book thing where we got to kill off the characters you love to make you fall in love with these new characters. See also Transformers the movie, which basically doomed the series, the cartoons afterwards. You don't have to do that. There's room for us to like both things, and I feel like that was the biggest issue with the sequel trilogy. They were like, we're gonna get rid of all the stuff you love, and you're gonna love Rey, Finn, and Poe, and that didn't work out at all. I'm hoping it's fixed going forward using the World Between Worlds, kill that stupid timeline and what they did. Review the characters with real fans and prioritize fan favorites. Yeah, I'm not too mad about fan service. I know people will hate on it and say that's too much fan service, but I'm a fan and I want to be serviced. I want stuff that makes me go, oh, that's so cool. Not stuff that's like, well, that's more realistic that Luke would do that. No, stick to what we know. My Cinemark theater isn't screening Return of the Jedi. You need to demand a better Cinemark theater. It's not cool. Django Fett. Not digging the one that I still have in the basement to review because I still have that. I have the Figure Arts one that I was not happy with. So I need a better Django Fett apparently. Zan Wessel. She is another Attack of the Clones character. It's just like, come on, what are y'all doing? Kelly Cox. Still looking for the original and a new land speeder too. I was very excited to get that land speeder they did for the Black Series line. And I have that First Order TIE fighter that I need to open out of the box because Target had massive clearance. I think I got it for $48 and figure out a way to paint it old school TIE fighter look because I don't want any First Order vehicle. Pretend nothing happens after Filoni film. That's how I feel when I watch Mandalorian, where it's like, no. You don't need to mention anything that's hinting, teasing down the road to the sequels. I'm fine as soon, like you. Once those stories are done, I'm done with anything else involving that stuff. Comfortable. Probably will never see these in the Black Series either. Dark Empire Luke with Dark Empire clone Palpatine or Dark Empire Leia in a Black Jedi cloak. I feel like they've done some of these comic book figures before, so I'd really love to see them because I love the Dark Empire stuff and those would be really great figures. I love that design for Luke and I would really love to see that. So hopefully they're able to go, well, we can do that too because there's room for all of the Star Wars fans to get stuff that they love without us feeling like we have to choose like, well, it's not the Marvel comics. Nah, man, put it all out there. Let's check it out. If they made Jaina Solo, then it should be possible. Any of the ones fans, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I want to see that for sure. JC the Great, I want more animated Clone Wars figures. Now, do you want them like how they actually looked in the cartoon, like how they've done in the vintage collection, or do you want those animated series looks with the more realistic head sculpts? Because I love the ones that they did with Anakin, Mace, and Obi-Wan. I thought those were really cool. So let me know what you want to see on that, JC the Great. Roberts, I have to admit, I'm glad I got so many vintage scale figures when the Clone Wars line. It covered a ton of ground and it mixed okay with vintage, but a bit stylized. Battle droids work great as they are. I had so many vintage collection battle droids and super battle droids, but I don't know if it's just my figure collection room. They wilted because their legs were like this thin and they just toppled over so often. Even when I was using stands, it wouldn't stay up. So I was a little frustrated with that. But I'm glad yours are holding up well. Adrian, I would love a black series of Darth Krayt and Darth Talon. I feel like there's so many characters and I don't think Disney, Hasbro are really taking advantage. I feel like they've got this weird tunnel vision of let's just redo the same version of Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader over and over again, as opposed to just winding it up. I'm not going to stop buying the ultimate best version of Luke Skywalker, but I'd love to see some other figures and other characters too. Lobot. Yep, we need him. And I want the Bespin guards as well. I think the only thing that's making me somewhat excited is the fact that they're in the vintage collection. And it seems like it may take forever, but we'll actually eventually see those figures in a Black Series line too. Daniel, I wouldn't mind getting another second sister and a ninth sister deluxe, to be honest. Was the ninth sister the big hulking one that you fought on that jungle like planet? If so, that's the one I was thinking of. And yeah, a deluxe figure of the ninth sister would be really great and really amazing. Saw Gerrera from Andor. Yeah, because it was weird. We didn't get the shorter hairstyle when that two pack. Two tubes. Ski rated. There's a figure Janet with a pilot helmet. It's a nice figure, by the way. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like we need to get all this stuff. Clone Wars, Saw, and Lux. Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. Yes, yes, for all these choices. Yep, that's what I'm saying. They can make the Legends figures. More of them. Love Jaina. What was my first Star Wars Hot Toys figure? And any funny story of hunting Star Wars action figures are the hardest figure that you look for. All right, Adrian, I got you. So I was, way back, I started paying attention to Hot Toys when they did the Dark Knight figures. I was like, whoa, this likeness of Heath Ledger and everybody else, Christian Bale, was really amazing. I was like, wow, okay, those were pretty expensive figures. And then I was like, okay, I'm down for the Avengers because I really wasn't loving what Hasbro did with them. So I was like, all right, I think I'm going to go in and get these figures. But my very first Hot Toys figure, my first Hot Toys Star Wars figure was the Bespin Luke, the deluxe one that had the standard pristine outfit. And then I just fought Vader and he's cheating because he's throwing all this boxes and stuff at me while he's still charging me with the lightsaber. That is probably my one favorite figure, my favorite Star Wars figure for sure. That is the one that the house goes up in flames. I'm grabbing it right now. It's like within arm's reach right now. So that would probably be my favorite figure. And, it's my first. And it had the eyes moving around too. So I love it. Hot Toys is re-releasing the Bespin Luke, but it's only just the clean look. And I wish they had done it with both versions so people could really take advantage. And it also had the weather vane that Luke was hanging on when he was going, Obi-Wan, help, Leia, hear me, that whole deal. And, you can have the hand flying around in the distance there as he's watching all his hopes and dreams fade away in the pristine, gorgeous sunset of Cloud City. Any funny story of hunting Star Wars action figures? So the very first when they brought him back, when everybody was getting hyped up for Phantom Menace, and I didn't pay attention to the characters because I wanted to go in pretty cold and not know anything about them. So I was lying outside the closest Toys R Us, RIP, with my brother because he was always so great about going out with me on these ridiculous figure runs, and it was late at night. I think maybe they had a midnight opening for those, and so we're waiting in line, and it's like, okay, you can go in, and the fever pitch for those Phantom Menace figures was so high that they had to stagger release. So it was like, all right, you first 10 go in, and then you guys go in next, and so we finally get in, and it's like, who are these figures? And Darth Maul, of course, was nowhere to be found. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan weren't there. And it's like, Rick Ollie, who is this? And, it's like, I don't want any of these figures. I'm just upset that I missed out on all these cool figures. So we had to run around to several different Targets and Toys R Us before we finally got what I felt satisfied with my Phantom Menace haul. But yeah, that was definitely something that reminds me of a funny story from my Star Wars early collecting days. Well, not that early, but you know what I mean. And the hardest figure that I look for, that Clone Wars Ahsoka. So the season 7 Ahsoka, Walmart exclusive. Weird that a Walmart exclusive would be hard to find, right? But she was really tricky because I'd gotten into Clone Wars late. And I think at that point, the Clone Wars figures are already out at Walmart. So people who were in the know got them. I was slowly catching up, watching all the stuff when they were in stores. And then it was like, oh, I want that version of Ahsoka. So she was on the website, but sold out, and you could pay $80 for her. But it took me a year. And I looked on Walmart's site maybe every other week, like, okay, is she back? Nope. Okay, what about now? Nope. And they had those notify me when items back in stock things. And I was like, okay, great. This is a chance to finally get her. They say she's in stock. So of course, when I opened the email and clicked the link, she was gone again. It took me a full year to get that Ahsoka, but I really love having her front and center with her clone troopers, even though you get the Walmart extra tax where it's like this regular $22 figure at the time is now 27. And that's kind of why I haven't bought fives right now, because I'm like, I like them and I love building up my clone army, but paying $30 for figures seems kind of weird, especially when it's exclusive to Walmart. But I love the question, Adrian. Anybody else has any thoughts on that? Let us know in the comments. JC the Great, I like the more realistic look because I can pose them with any Star Wars figure. Yeah, I think that is really great. And those stylized versions that match the artwork, the design in the cartoons are cool. But yeah, I'm really loving the fact that you can merge those two worlds together. And it's like, oh yeah, this is what he looked like. This is how Samuel L. Jackson would look like if he was rocking that Clone Wars armor. When I was getting them Empire Strikes Back Luke 2-packs, got one out of because of money. But that was dope. Too much money, but I get that one. Yep. What's up, Ryan? How you doing? Good evening from the Midwest. Did I miss the Star Killer talk? Oh, not yet. No, not. I've kind of talked about it, but I haven't gotten into my top 5 list. So yeah, you've not missed it yet. Star Killer, Ken Robinson. What's up? Return Vader isn't even screen accurate. Please tell me, because as majorly into these films as I am, I never noticed all those precise minute details on Vader's outfit that I feel like Star Wars PhD fans know so well. And I'm just like, oh, cool. It's the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader that I can have fight my Jedi dual Luke. JC the Great, I'm tired of Black Series re-releases. If I see another Chewbacca and Vader, I'm going to cry. I don't mind them so much when we get like a very specific movie version. So like this latest Chewbacca figure, I took the picture down, but I love the fact that he's got the matted hair down and he's got the choker chain where it's like, this is clearly one that you could put in your Jabba's palace diorama display. And then you could have another one hanging going, oh, with the Ewoks. I kind of like that. What I don't like is the exact same figure over and over again. I think Vader almost pushes it because unless you really pay attention and know all those details, you're not going to see or care about what they've changed to it. Episode 4 Han. Yeah, he does get released a bit. Ryan, I just got her 2 Star Killers, such a dope character. Yes. Don't think I have a Hot Toys yet. Hot Toys is a very dangerous, slippery slope because once you start, it's like really, really hard to avoid wanting to resist the temptation. Let me take a picture of my shelf so you guys can get a sense of what I'm talking about here. So this is my shelf of Hot Toys Star Wars. It's still not fleshed out because I still have a few more to put in there, like the Empire Strikes Back Lando. Still waiting on the Bespin Han, but you get sucked in really hard because the likenesses are great and it's so much fun seeing how they turn out and all the accessories and all that good stuff. Daniel, hey, so I'm wearing my boots from work and I got them dirty. Does that mean I have battle damage? Calling out General Grievous. Gaming Grace. I'm happy with the Grievous I have now. Yeah, he's too far for me to run and get him, but I just got that General Grievous that comes with a cape, the full look, and I kind of feel like if you're going to do gaming great figures, let's do ones from the video games who are exclusive to the video games. I don't need a Luke Skywalker, a Darth Maul from the video games. I want those characters who are specific to them that we're not going to see in Clone Wars. We're not going to see in Ahsoka. Unless Starkiller shows up, that'd be awesome. But you know what I'm saying. Let's get more of these games. Kelly Cox, Hasbro on their prices again. Black Series for the most part in Canada are $45. Yikes. Gosh. And is that just the regular one, not the deluxe ones? Jeez. Is it weird that Bestman, Luke, and Phantom Maul are still okay figures? We need major updates for both of them. Yeah, because the Phantom Maul is like one of the best ones in Series 1, the Black Series, and that figure was really good. But better articulation, more range in the elbows and knees would make a Darth Maul even better. I still have the figure arts Darth Maul because I wanted a super flexible, super posable Darth Maul. Bestman Luke, that's my favorite look for Luke because Empire is my favorite movie of Star Wars and basically every other movie. But yeah, I'd need a super hyper articulated version of Bestman Luke, kind of like this new Return of the Jedi version that looks really great, really amazing. We need that for Luke as well. Sean, what's going on? Haven't seen a video from you in a while. It's good to see you back, unless I just missed your recent videos. Yeah, I just did one yesterday with the Black Series reveals, and yeah, so check them out. They're there, and I've still been doing them. Just been doing a lot more lives and having fun with that. But thank you, Sean. It's nice to be missed. Yes, my Star Wars Day finally uploaded. I filmed it this morning. It's only 22 minutes. I uploaded it too. Nice. I'll make sure to check it out as well. Reiko Harding, Jedi Peel, and Mando Kenobi. Ken, hearing stories about collecting is always dope. I was born in 2000. It seems like the only thing that has changed is prices. Yeah, those prices are wild. And I don't know about you guys, but I loved and sorely missed KB Toys because they were really good about having sales. Like Toys R Us was like, hey, here's the figures. You want them, you buy them. But KB was awesome. They do those 3 for $10 on figures. Like, awesome. And I really miss that store. I miss going into the malls. And that was like a sole main reason for me going to malls was let's see what their KB has. So I really miss KB. So in film, Vader has neck chain and black eyes. Thank you. So my shirt. Cool. Okay. That's a fire Star Wars Hot Toys collection. Thank you. I have to put a link in here later. This guy's collection overall is amazing. But his Star Wars collection is awesome. He's got all these backgrounds and diorama sets for him. So it was like, whoa, so much effort and so cool. And I need to put my second Detolf up so I can put all my Star Wars figures up there. Daniel, I want Iden Versio from Battlefront 2. Personally, I don't mind the Darth Maul version. I use that skin in the game a lot. No, I totally get that. Like, I feel like there is room for those characters and figures. I just wish it wasn't a thing where, oh, we've got a named character. It's not a clone trooper. It's not a droid repaint. It's a character that's had several figures. I don't have an issue with them making Grievous or Maul. I just want other figures. And because the Gaming Greats line is so limited in scope and releases, that there's not a lot of opportunities to get a Seer or Marin before we're getting rehashes, slight battle damage, paint jobs on figures that have already had really good figures. Oh, Robert, you miss KB Toys too. Yeah. And Toy Works and just being able to go to a mall and seeing figures like in Suncoast and going in and like, oh, wow, you guys have a sale this week. Now I can get a figure. It's awesome. Hayden, TCEM 2. I would love some Geonosians in the Black Series. Poggle the Lesser especially. Yes, like the Geonosians are the whole army force that they were fighting in Attack of the Clones. We have 0 in the Black Series line. And Poggle the Lesser looked so cool, and he would make for an awesome figure. I feel like this is where Hasbro's not taking advantage of 2-packs for Black Series because one Geonosian shouldn't be $25, much like an Ewok shouldn't be $25. But you put them in a 2-pack for maybe $30. I would buy so many of them and battle droids because they shouldn't be $25 either. But I don't know what they're doing with these prices. Comfortable. Yep. KB was my go-to toy store. I always loved it when like I would plan my shopping trips between what area had a Toys R Us and had a mall with a KB close by. Like those were the good shopping areas for me. If it was one or the other, it was like, I'll check it out later. But if they had both, it was a super win. Like one area that doesn't have either now, of course, had the Toys R Us right across the street from the mall, and it was like, yes, this is everything I want in my planning purposes for buying figures. Ken Robinson, Return of the Jedi, Luke is my most vivid Star Wars memory. Him catching the green saber always hits me, and I feel like a 3-year-old again. Yes, it was like the music was set up just perfect, and him doing a backflip. I was like, oh man, he's a full Jedi now. That was really cool. I wonder if Lucasfilm is a culprit. I don't know. It feels like somebody has to be behind it because there's such a wide array of characters, and it's like, well, let's get some more of them. And I kind of feel like there's so many out there that we should be getting, and it's like, come on, go for it. Mike, what's going on? KB was always super over the top on prices first, though. Yeah, you did have to wait them out. Like, it wasn't a thing of like, oh, I'm going to pay $20 for a Marvel Legend in 2005 when Toys R Us may have had them for $14. Adrian, thank you for sharing your experiences. I really enjoy hearing your stories. Also, it's incredible Luke is the first Hot Toys of many people. Mine was Mandalorian. And I feel kind of bad because Mandalorian was the gateway to make me care and love about Star Wars after the sequel trilogy just bashed them down. But yeah, I feel like I need him because they have a really cool one, a deluxe set with him and Grogu. It's right now on sale on Sideshow. But I kind of feel like if I get Mandalorian, I'm going to want to get a Bo-Katan, a Moff Gideon. I'm still a little bit salty that I'm not going to get a Hot Toys Cara Dune recast if it's a big issue, but I really wish we had her in that line too. Ken Robinson, I went to 1 KB in my life. It was dope. Had a Fantastic Four Legends 5-pack. Was that the one with Franklin? I was like 4 with $2 to my name. Man, I remember going to Toys R Us back when I cared, like I could, talk to my grandfather and go, hey, can we go to Toys R Us? And I want to get this figure. And the Joes were $2.97 back then, but that may have been $30 to me now because I didn't have that much money and allowance is always quickly spent. Kelly, that is the price of standard figures, $45. Good grief. That is terrible. Do they have at least a lot of sales so you can kind of plan and mortgage them out when you're buying their figures for not releasing a lot of Clone Wars? And I don't know why. Maybe it's because everyone loves Clone Wars so much and they're like, we wish you guys would love our sequel trilogy as much as you do Clone Wars, because I feel like that may be the culprit. Hasbro trying to save a buck too much on choices. Which ones do you think they're saving money on? Do or do not. There is no try. Super Battle Droids. Hasbro, let's go. Super Battle Droids, say it with me. Yes, more Super Battle Droids, Battle Droids. And there's so many different variations of those Battle Droids. And, once they get started, I will buy them all. And I don't care about the space for my droids, just like I don't care about the space for my Stormtroopers. I will continue to buy them. I feel like the culprit is Hasbro. They do this on multiple lines, Marvel, Joe, etc. I still am kind of feeling it's really weird that there's a cap for our shield agents, Hydra, Skrulls, etc., where it's like, why not just keep them in the queue so anybody who wants to army build as many shield troopers, Hydra troops, AIM, etc. as they want can continue to do so? That seems to be the easiest way to keep a line going, having those figures that you don't have to do anything for. Like, you don't have to paint up clone troopers. You can just release standard white and I'll take a paintbrush and decide, okay, I'm putting this one with Cody, I'm putting this one with Wolf. It doesn't even matter. But to not have them and have them kind of restricted seems like a short-sighted plan to me, where this is the easiest way to keep those lines going. Like, have Cobra Troopers in constant resupply. You don't need to paint them any colors, no Python Patrol necessary. Just put them out for us. I want to get the Luke Skywalker Imperial Cruiser and use that for my default loot. The last Luke I had was the Return of the Jedi with the Endor outfit. I love the Endor outfit loot because one of my favorite scenes in Return of the Jedi is when he's knocked off the speeder and he's on the ground and he lights his lightsaber and it's like, all right, it's about to be on. He's about to take this joker out, and he sidesteps the speeder and just slices it with his lightsaber. I was like, that was so cool, Luke. Hondo Onaka. Well, my friend, you definitely could do that. Art Troopers Cult and re-release Echo. Yeah, so many. All right, so as promised, here are my top 5 that I want to see in the Black Series line because I desperately need them and want to see them ASAP from Hasbro. So, surprisingly, I'm starting off with the Clone Wars. Pong Krell, the Jedi who's actually working with Count Dooku or wanted to be a separatist traitor as well. He didn't care about the clones, and he has such a great design. He's got all those arms to hold all his lightsabers. He would make for an amazing figure. I think he'd probably be a deluxe one, so I understand why maybe they're hesitant, but he's such a memorable character from Clone Wars. I feel like he would be a really easy sell, and his design would be amazing to see in this thing. And I really want him. So hopefully he's a Clone Wars character. This on Hasbro's top 5, top 10 list as well. Next up, because you all asking, because I cannot keep ringing the bell for this character enough, Star Killer, playing Force Unleashed for the first time was really an experience. I guess I played it so long ago now that after I replayed it now, it would seem like a new game to me. He was such a great character. Kind of figuring out which way he was going to go was really interesting. And I was excited about playing all the way through, kind of like the way I am now as I play Fallen Order and soon Survivor. I'm kind of wondering if that's a game I should just wait until I eventually get a PS5 and play on that end, because I like these new graphics, but I don't feel the need to get it right away. Again, from Clone Wars, Savage Press, and if only we could get Clancy Brown to voice him as well. But oh man, I was like, when I saw these pictures of Maul coming back before I got back into Clone Wars, like, oh, come on, how is Maul back? And who is this dude that looks like him but with yellow? I was hating on it so hard, but when I got into it, I was like, oh, I need him in figure form immediately. And I feel like he would make a really good figure. We've got that Fallen Order version of that species, but I want a Savage Press and have him in the line so I can have him hanging with my Darth Maul figures. And finally, Pre Vizsla, Clone Wars again, have him fighting for control of Mandalore with Darth Maul, dueling with the dark saber versus lightsaber for control of everything. Really like to get that whole Death Watch squad, have him hanging out with Bo-Katan before she realizes things are really bad and terrible. He'd be a really great figure. And my last one from Heirs to the Empire, Jorah Sabath, because Heirs to the Empire is great, and we got so many of these figures. We've already got, we've got, oh my goodness, my man Thrawn. We've got a Mara Jade. We just need him to complete the bad guys, the evil clone that mattered and made sense. And that would be really fun to see those guys, and I can then reread Heirs to the Empire and reenact all those scenes with my Black Series figures. So love to see him. Let's see what everybody else is saying. Adrian, they should have made a movie telling the story from the perspective from a trooper only during the Clone Wars, showing little cameos of Rex, Anakin, and many more, not a movie with Rey. And that would still work. I mean, it's so odd because they're like, we're going to do this movie, we're going to do this show. I'm like, I don't really need or care about kids running around during the Republic, during the Clone Wars. I just want y'all to continue doing what you're doing. Like, if they did a Fallen Order movie, I'd be all on board with it. If they did a Force Unleashed movie, that would be awesome too. If you just decided we're going to do completely CGI Luke, Han, Luke, Leia, and we're going to do an Heirs to the Empire, I'd be on board with that as well. Lots of things. And I'm kind of like, come on, guys, what are we doing? Ken, can we get a Finn with a lightsaber? Ray! They did my boy so dirty. The hype I had for his character before The Force Awakens was insane. Sad to know where his development went. I felt so baited and switched with what they did with Finn. I was like, this is so cool. We got a black dude. He's not the scoundrel. He's not the guy hanging and helping everybody out. He's the main guy. He's got the lightsaber and it's blue. This is awesome. And it was like, oh, you dirty, dirty dogs. And in the other two films, it was like, what is he doing beside yelling Ray? The whole last one, I have something really important to tell you. They didn't even finish it and explain it. I'm like, y'all suck. That's why I hate the Sequels movies. Big Bird, love your enthusiasm for these. Thank you. It is no act. This is exactly how I am when I go to the stores, when I see all these news, when I'm watching these live streams. Like, yes, we finally got this one. So it is legit. Kelly Cox, no Hasbro merchandise is just sitting, no matter what the line. The only ones that sell in my stores is McFarlane. Spawn or DC are always sold out. And I think some of it is because the choices of characters we're seeing from Hasbro with their lines. It's How many of us on this chat alone have been saying, oh, I want this figure from Clone Wars. I want battle droids. I want super battle droids. Give us the Star Killer. Give us all these characters from Knights of the Old Republic. But they're not doing that. And instead, oh, here's a character that had 2 minutes of screen time on Andor. Nobody's asking for an Imperial officer like that. I mean, it's just there's so many weird choices. And here's Obi-Wan with this robe that he wore in the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Here's him in his other one. Here's Wandering Jedi Obi-Wan. It's like, dude, just do one, the best one where he's fighting Vader for that last time. Do that. And I feel like they're kind of hoping that people are going to be so on board with all these shows and want to buy every single figure from them. But they're missing the shows that they created that have a long form fan base. Clone Wars 20 years in, and people are like, where are more Clone Wars figures? But they're not doing those figures that we want. So that's why they're rotting. With the G.I. Joe Classified series, I barely see them on shelves. The only ones that I see in really any abundance are those Tiger Force, the Python Patrol variants at Target, or the retro card Lady J, which was not the right choice because her figure was still on shelves. And Baroness, and I feel like that figure would sell really well if they had fixed the elbow situation where she could do like the full rotation, full range of movement instead of just being able to go like that. So I feel like Hasbro's to blame for this, and McFarlane's really doing a good job of kind of figuring out what the demand, what people want to see, and delivering on it. And speaking of McFarlane, let's take a look here because, why not? He is doing what I think more companies need to do, and just like, hey, this is what people want to see. No problem. I'll make that figure. And I don't think there was a huge demand for this version of Batman, but he's just all aboard doing all kinds of cool stuff that people want to see. And he makes cool figures, and that's his entire goal. And the musculature on this Batman really looks cool. And I think that's what he does so well. And he always says everything is cool. But I mean, you take a look at this Mr. Freeze. This is really creative. And this is so creative, it doesn't even have to work as Mr. Freeze. You can just use it for a bad guy to fight your other heroes in basically any other line. And then we've got this Batgirl, and this is a wild design. It's a page puncher version of her as well. Let's check those double jointed elbows. The outfit looks cool. She's got really great weapons, and he's starting to put more accessories in here, so that's cool as well. And then we got this Robin, wild design on this as well. But I mean, he's delivering stuff that people want to see, and you really can't argue with that. Big Bird, are they making any expanded universe characters? They've done a few, not as much as I'd love to see, because I feel like that is a whole other path of figures they could be making more money on instead of just sticking to the safe bets like Mando. And if there's some concerns about that, that's what Hasbro Pulse is for, making them exclusive to there, where it's like, okay, only the hardcore Star Wars fans are going to get these. But I feel like there's enough hardcore Star Wars fans out there who would travel to London to go watch a convention, and that you could probably sell enough of those figures to make it work. 80s kid from the 90s. Let's check out your top 5. I love your list. Pong Krell, Jedi Dooku. Yeah, I really love that Tales from the Jedi and watching the fall of Dooku. That was really fun. I wouldn't even mind having the younger, freshly non-Padawan version of Qui-Gon Jinn 2 to pair up with him. Cad Bane season 4, Voss and Clone Wars season 3, Anakin. Yeah, there's a huge list of Clone War characters I want to do. He can be remade into the chef dude. Yeah, Star Killer is a most wanted to most people, and probably the team too. I hope he's on the team's radar, Mike, because I feel like he's a character you don't even need, like how with Fallen Order, Cal's allies and friends are so important to him. Star Killer, you could just do him, and they could just do what we love to see from Hasbro with the Carbonized collection. They could repaint as much as they want to, so there's no stuck list or look for him. I don't understand why we don't have him yet. Hasbro Pipeline Pre-Vizsla. Yes, thank you. That's good news. I'm really happy to hear that. Zabracker, great. I lean more towards vintage, but I bought all the Black series you suggested. Thank you. And for me, I think what's really interesting is I started off as a vintage collector, obviously, And I'm so jealous looking at all the cool vehicles. And I know it's really impractical to get these vehicles in the Black Series line, but the playsets like the carbon freezing chamber where they put Luke in, or Luke, they put Han in, I was like, that is so cool. I wish they would do something like that on the scale of Black Series, because I would love to recreate that moment from Empire Strikes Back. I wasn't trying to be negative, but after sequels, yeah, I'm not ever going to be like, whoa, don't talk bad about the sequels. Not on this channel. And if you love the sequels, more power to you. I just don't, because I don't feel like they really understood what the heck they were doing with those characters. Give us Clone Wars Grievous. That's the right size and a great figure. Did you not like the one that they released? And for me, it's kind of interesting because I love the original Clone Wars version with him where he made his debut. Don't forget, stand tall. We're Jedi. Jedi. Love that portrayal of Grievous. He seemed really intimidating and scary. And I almost felt like the one in the films was a little bit more of a joke. And then they had to keep him going with that in the other Clone Wars, except for when he went and took out all of the zombie women. It just destroyed and massacred their entire race. I wouldn't mind Madame Tao either. Their character choices are garbage. How did that random Imperial chick from Obi-Wan get a figure before Super Battle Droid? Excuse me. Yeah, I liked her. I thought she was a cool character, but I didn't understand why they decided to put her in the Imperial outfit, where it's like, I just don't think the Empire is so progressive. I'm having such a hard time with that, with these new projects where it's like, why are there so much diversity in the Empire? I mean, I kind of felt like the whole deal was we're superior and we're not going to be inclusive. I think that's kind of weird, but I really didn't understand why they made her in her Imperial outfit as opposed to her rebel attire. And I don't know why we don't have super battle droids. I think that's crazy because they were in Battlefront. They could call it Gaming Greats Battle Droids. I hope they can make a good HasLab one day. Well, it seems like the rumor that even the team kind of hinted at this last live stream is we're going to get another vintage collection HasLab because those sell. We're going to get the Ghost from Rebels. I assume the tiers will include the rest of the team. So we'll have Hera, Zeb, Kanan, Ezra, Sabine, Chopper, and I would assume Ahsoka to tie into her show. So we'll see, but I figure we're going to get those for sure. They're thinking they need entertainment to sell, which is always such a shoddy, terrible mindset because we're seeing with the G.I. Joe Classified series line, you don't need a cartoon. You don't need a new movie starring The Rock and Bruce Willis and ignoring cool characters like Flint and Snake Eyes. You just need a good property. You just need good figures because we're seeing Kickstarters with companies that have no TV, no movie, no comic book, and they're selling because the figures look cool. Hasbro already has the goodwill from all these characters at their disposal, and it's like, well, let's hold off until there's a new movie or a new show or an anniversary. They could always keep these gaming great characters, the video game characters in rotation, comic book characters they could put in rotation because the internet exists. People could track them down or go get the trade from Amazon or their local comic book store. There's so much stuff that people could get, and it's always so frustrating where it's, well, we need a show, we need a movie to sell. They don't, and I hate the fact that they feel like that's the case. That Batmobile gonna flood everything. Yeah, I think you're right. People who are into comics and mythic legends are the target for that Batman. Yeah, and they're probably going to sell for real on that. And McFarlane seems to get a sense of what comic book figure collectors are into. It makes that figure. And I know for me, I'm frustrated that I still don't have a classic Wonder Woman figure in his line, but you never have to worry about his stuff sitting on the pegs, hanging out forever and ever. Mr. Freeze does look like the Bioshock guy, Daniel. I also got the Flash Page Punchers, and I'm using him as my Johnny Quick. I'm happy. I wish I had a Johnny Quick. I wish I had the entire All-Star Squadron, but I feel like they are so far beyond McFarlane's view in terms of cool characters, and I'm never going to get them, and it's just a pipe dream of mine. When is the Target Vanth and Bane 2-pack release? Well, let's find out. Because I was looking around to see what Target had on sale. Because I was like, well, hey guys, it's May the 4th. What Star Wars sales do you have so that I can take advantage of and buy some new figures? Let's see. Let's do it together. Let's see if we can find these guys. What I love about Target, this figure on the website's $26.49, but you can find him in stores and clearance for like $7. Crazy. Same deal with this Obi-Wan. I think he's 16. Here we go. So here's Cobb Vanth in his cool attire and Cad Bane. Oh boy, and it doesn't seem like we have a pre-order time frame, so that sucks. But I like these figures. I think they did a really cool job with them. I can't wait to buy this set when it's $25 or $30 down the road instead of $55.99, especially since I can't see what's in the package, what's in the box. Clone Wars Darth Sidious, anyone? Yes, absolutely. Give me him for sure. And in the interim, I guess I'll just have to survive and make it with this guy. And yeah, he'll just be sitting in my Clone Wars collection as my default Darth Palpatine, Darth Sidious figure. All right, Mike, so here's yours. Super Battle Droid, Destroyer Droid, yes. Droid Dakar, Star Killer, Battle Damage, Vader. From which one? When he fought Obi-Wan or when he fought Luke? Because the Return of the Jedi one is really covering my Battle Damage Vader needs. HasLab would be amazing if at ATST, but whatever, I'm going to go third party for that. I think it was you that showed me that third party ATST, and I so want that. And really, I don't care about my space. I will make room if I can get an AT-AT in Black Series scale. I would try down the AT-AT driver and Admiral Piet. No, not Piet. I'm forgetting his name now, of course. But yeah, I would so buy those. I would buy 3. And I'd go back and find some more of those snow speeders and buy them. So anytime it snowed, I would run out like I was 5 years old and put them all in the snow, have them trample and shoot and blast my Hoth troopers as well. But yeah, definitely go for that. Would love the Bane 2-pack. Adrian, I'm with you on collect 3.75, and I really wish they'd do some spaceships for Black Series 2. I feel like if they want a HasLab that would sell, that wouldn't be risky. I mean, not that the Rancor should have been risky. It should have been a whoop. There you go. But an X-Wing seems like the ideal HasLab for Star Wars, for the Star Wars team to do a vehicle that would fun and don't go, well, this is the one that random character in Andor or Rogue One piloted. Go with Luke's and make Luke. This way you can get a new updated version of him and his X-Wing attire. Make the tiers Wedge and Biggs so you can have them there too. Porkins is another figure, and then maybe Red Leader 1 or whatever. Do that, and I think that would sell so easily, so quickly, and people would be like, yes, that's what we wanted from you, HasLab team. Do that, and we'll support and buy it. But yes, it's weird. Teacher from Andor. Teacher was interesting, but I really was like, come on, man. I don't want to get into all those Imperial officers where they're sitting around the table, but Teacher was an interesting character. We'll say that. Rook Zalbar, Thrawn's right-hand bounty hunter. Yeah, I mean, any character from Heir to the Empire, from Rebels, I'm down for. So I'd love for them to do that. James, have I heard anything else about Paratown? You should do another video with the creator again for an update about Wave 2 and what else they plan on doing. So I did get an update. I'm assuming you got one too this week where they said they've arrived. They should be shipping soon. So if we don't hear anything by next week, I'll do a video and I'll reach out to Steve and see what's what. But I'm assuming, because last time when I scheduled to do a video with them, they were right when the pre-orders were going up. So I'm going to assume that they're really busy right now, but I'll reach out and see if I can talk and get some scoops on what's going on with that. Jeffrey, I'm laughing loudly about what you said about Inclusive Empire. I mean, I'm just like, come on, guys. I love diversity and things, but not with the Empire. They can be the bad guys for a reason. I want that 2-pack so bad. I think the 2-pack is really cool. I think it shows what you can do with the Black Series line. And that's the Cobb Vanth I wanted, because by the end of his episode where he debuted, he wasn't even rocking the Boba Fett armor. And as cool as I found Cobb to be, it's like, well, if he's not rocking this going forward, I don't need him in that look. Ken's another one that wants that 2-pack. Just got in what 2-pack? No problem. I'll show you the 2-pack. This one here is really cool with Cad Bane and Cobb Vanth, and they look great. Really fun 2-pack, nice firing effects for their blasters. That's something we haven't really seen this line do before. And Cad Bane looks really cool. Got the flamethrower as well. Cobb Vanth just looks cool. Like, hey, partner, what you doing in my town? He's reaching for his blaster, and we've actually got the face-off photo, which looks cool and really amazing. And then there's the lack of a window, and we got your mural image. Now that's kind of interesting because I don't know how that's going to pair up with how everything else looks. Thank you so much, Hayden. Because I mean, General Veers was one of the most effective villains for the Empire. He got stuff done. The shields are down. You may prepare for your landing, Lord Vader. In Black Series, we always get a random look for a character, and then they go for the default look everyone wants. Miggs Mayfield and now Cobb Vanth. I almost felt like the Cobb Vanth look was understandable because maybe people will want him in his jetpack attire, but I felt like I kind of want to hold off and wait for that. But yeah, the Miggs figure, I was so confused why they went with that one episode look where he's not even rocking that look the entire time when we still need the rest of his crew from that episode when they went into the Imperial Party. Which three party? Maybe I don't want to get the third party person in trouble and have Hasbro knocking on the doors and stealing their products. So hit me up on Instagram. I'll try to track it down and send it to you. 80s kids from the 90s. I've waited a long time for Black Series, Clone Wars, Ahsoka. I can wait a little longer for Clone Wars Series 3, Anakin. I'm paraphrasing Maul from season 4 ending. Yeah, I would not mind getting him and Obi-Wan in a Clone Wars kind of style from after they ditched the armor. But I just want a better version of Revenge of the Sith looks for Obi-Wan and Anakin. Updated Ben Kenobi. So I assume you're talking about the old man version. They've got what I feel like is a really good prototype for an updated Ben Kenobi with that Force Ghost version of him. Oh boy. Okay, let's see here. I'll pull it out because I really think this is a great set and something that they should be putting out pretty hard. This Force Ghost, and I think this would make for a really good updated version of Ben because it looks great. And I love how they did the robes. And you can see here how that would work pretty easily with a regular standard figure. The sculpt looks good. And I just think they could knock it out because, I mean, it's got the elbows, got the head sculpt, kind of looks great. Looks like Alec Guinness. But yeah, I think that's something they should be able to do with no problem and just get it out to us. The Rancor is such a faceplant. Broke my heart, but Hasbro owns that loss. A huge one because I don't understand why they did anything they did with that. Hasbro was so bad. Porkins' body for self series for people. Yeah, I mean we need it. I mean Porkins was able to fit in there. We need everybody represented fighting against the evil empire. Comfortable. All right, your top 5 most expanded universe in case Hasbro is in here. Corran Horn, Kyle Katarn, yeah, Darth Bane, Quinlan Voss, Dark Empire Luke, make it happen. Why not make it happen? I feel like there'd be so many people that would really be excited to get a Quinlan Voss figure, a Kyle Katarn figure, Darth Bane, etc. And I feel like they would be like, whoa, we had no idea there was such interest in these characters and figures, but they really are. And I think we'd love to see all of them coming through for us. I got the mail from Power Channel 2. All right, Adrian. Hope the great Kabuki can finally have a toy of Power Channel Series 2 or 3. Yeah, I need a Kabuki because we got a Kerry Von Erich, and I really hope they do a David Von Erich so we can get a Gary Hart figure later. I'd love to see Chris Adams, Gino Hernandez, the dynamic duo. I mean, they could settle in on AWA and World Class, and I'd be really happy. And if they include Mid-South characters too, that'd be even better. Give us the right Boba with the red-brown boots. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad thing to get it right. Why is the Vintage Collection Scout more expensive than the Black Series one was? Is it really? That is stupid if that is the case. And it's funny because I have the Black Series collect Scout bike, and I was able to get 3 of them because they were on sale and clearance. This is the old one, not the re-release versions of them. They already had the Veers head from Donovan in the Indie series. I have now gotten an idea thanks to my good friend Keith. Thank you. So I'll just grab one of these random Imperial bodies and then I will have my Admiral Veers. $44.99 for Vintage. Black Series was $39.99. Yeah, the pricing on Hasbro is something I want to get into in one of my videos real soon because I was looking at this amazing, let's go to my Marvel Legends series and pull this up. I mean, let's look at these prices, which I think are just weird and absurd. We've got the really great Marvel Legends series Thor versus Marvel's Destroyer for licensing or whatever. He's $60. And then you see the Super Adaptoid, he's $70. The Super Adaptoid is largely a reuse of that 12-inch Captain America figure, whereas the Destroyer actually looks like a figure that's putting in a lot of work on its own. Then we got this Super Skrull and Super Skrull Queen for $55.99. The prices is all over the place. But I mean, looking at the Destroyer, he's tall and massive, and he's got all of this new sculpted parts and elements. They can't reuse that with anything. And this one is cheaper than this figure, which is just a bad repaint and re-release and doesn't even have the wings. I don't know. But yeah, I've given up trying to make sense of what Hasbro charges and what they do with stuff. Joshua Kincaid, they should go for a deep cut and release a Luke and Mara 2-pack. And I would so buy it. It's so weird. I'm glad they're making a Mara so I can have her in my collection. But yeah, do her and Luke and have her as her Jedi attire look. Yeah, I feel like they know what we want and they're just kind of like, maybe later. But yeah, I'd love to see that. Skywalkers, I would get in on that 2-pack. I'm with you, comfortable. Clone Wars Maul from season 4 finale. I would love to see a 2-pack from Rebels with Obi-Wan and Maul from their final face-off. That would be fun and really cool to have in line too. You think Disney will make real the relationship of Bo-Katan and Din? I was expecting something with that in the final episode. It's weird because I thought maybe they'd go that route, but they seem to be kind of keeping the distance. And I don't know if I mind them not going that kind of obvious route, but yeah, maybe he's holding out for Cara Dune and he's holding the torch for her. Kelly Cox, vintage tax like the Spider-Man tax. Thanks, Hasbro. Yeah, because that's the only reason for that. These prices sometimes have 0 cents. It makes no sense. And Beltran and Hawkeye Sky Cycle might be $60. Yeah, Ryan actually posted the picture of said Sky Cycle and Hawkeye. I guess we're going to see that tomorrow. And let's hope you guys can see that. So it's just Hawkeye. It's just a Sky Cycle. And I'm going to need that price to not be $60. I'm hoping 40, maybe 45 at the most, but I feel like I'm going to be disappointed and just end up waiting till Black Friday's sale. I agree on Destroyer versus Super Adaptoid. It makes no sense, none whatsoever, especially since no one really is clamoring for that Super Adaptoid when they showed he didn't have the wings. The 2-pack you said for Rebels would most definitely reuse that Maul from Gaming Greats. It's basically the same design, and that would be okay in that case. I wouldn't be upset with it. Yeah, so I'm hoping to see that. All right, so let's see here. What else did I want to talk about on this episode? Because I think we've covered so much stuff, and I just want to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. So we talked about the McFarlane releases and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's what we got in terms of what we saw from the Hot Toys figures, Sidious, and his really cool Clone Wars attire, Commander Fox, these Black Series reveals. I'm really digging them. And I think, as long as they start realizing that we care about other figures beyond the same 5'10", them, Luke, Vader, Mando, Grogu, maybe Leia, Chewbacca, and getting more figures from the wide realm of Star Wars. That'd be awesome. It's something we really need to see. That whole deluxe and 2-pack stuff is basically Hasbro making us pay for BAF. Yeah, and I really wish they would just put out Build-A-Figure waves again, because to me that was the smartest way to do it, because I was buying figures I had no interest in whatsoever just so I could put the head on the figure to complete the Build-A-Figure. And I mean, if there was 6 figures, there was almost always that 6th one. I was like, do I really need this one? No, but I want to complete the Build-A-Figure since I already have every other thing except for the leg. So I don't get it. I don't understand why they did that. Across the Spider-Verse spot, Miles, $50. That's not a good price either. Absolutely not. Eth Koth and Jocasta Nu. Yeah, I dig her. I want to get a figure of her so she can snidely say if it's not in the archives, then it doesn't exist. Boba 2. You're talking about young Boba? Because he's somebody that I really want, so I can have him hang with the bounty hunters that I've already got in here. Bail Organa. he's weird because I figured with him showing up in Obi-Wan, hopefully that wasn't a spoiler for anyone, that we would get a figure of him. Like he would have made more sense than an Imperial officer from Ferrix. Like I don't know. When would Darth Maul from Phantom Menace come out? Always wanted that one. Um, he's a character that's pretty popular. He's got a good look. They've nailed the head sculpt, so they don't have to do anything different with him. And they really just need to retool the body, give him those butterfly shoulders, and a removable cloth robe, so he can do his thing and get ready for the duel with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. But yeah, I don't understand. I feel like there are some characters that it's like, well, why haven't you done this version again now that you've got the superior enhanced articulation, the face printing so much better, and you're still not doing it? I did want to give you all the latest update on this Tuppen hard case. Yeah, I want to give you guys an update on the Mattel Creations WCW Nitro set. We're on the final days, final hours, basically, of it now. And I want to go to this. So let's go to our intrepid reporter, Gregory Helms. Where is it right now? It is 66% of the needed 5,000 backers. So it's at 3,316. There's still time. Just one day left. If you're interested in backing and supporting this project, I really hope it does go through. They made sure to make a point that if you're interested in this thing now, you can actually pay for it in installments. There's one where you do every other week, $100. And then there's another one that's 12 months, which is a lot more affordable. That one has a setup where you're paying like $33 interest on top of the 400. So it's like 433. But if you need to space out how you pay for it, that's a better option. But I really think that it's coming there, starting to make some progress. I feel like last week it was just at 54% and not moving anywhere. So now to see it at 66% was really encouraging. So if you're kind of on the fence and thinking maybe I want to back this, maybe not, it might be the time to go ahead and do that. Have Jocasta new with her lightsaber gun from the comics. That would be really cool. I'd love to see that look because it was really neat. Clone Wars Pike Enforcer. Yeah. I feel like there are so many Clone Wars characters. They could just do them and they would release core characters. They could put out another Yoda, Mace, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Saw Gerrera. So many characters that they could easily just throw in there and we would buy them, and there wouldn't have to be this big thing of when are we finally going to get this character out there. They could re-release the Bad Batch too. Do I think WCW will make it? I feel like they're getting close enough where it might be a situation where they go, okay, we're going to give you another 20 days. Because over the last few days, they really pulled up a lot more interest. So I'm curious to see what will happen with it. But I think it's kind of here and there with that. Touch and go. Roberts, Infinite Realms. I don't think the stage will back. Not being a pessimist, just the value isn't there, in my opinion. Hey, we've only got our opinion. So, as long as we're not trashing everybody else's opinion, please feel free to share your opinions. I always welcome them. What's up, Altidos? Good. I'm good. Hope you are as well. That new Snips looks good. Yeah, she does look great. Snips. Let's pull her back up. She looks really good. I love how they did her head sculpt, the lightsabers, just her whole sculpt looks great. Dirge, yes, Dirge was on my list of characters that I did the video on. I was like, oh man, why don't we have Dirge? He's such a great looking design, and he would make for an awesome figure. And this would also sync up with that Obi-Wan. Maybe they do it as a 2-pack where we get Obi-Wan in that general clone attire for everybody who missed out on that figure already. Then you get him with Dirge. Then you could re-release some more of those clone troopers from phase 1 with their red and blue attires. I mean, it feels like it's really obvious and really easy in terms of continually cranking out clones the whole prequel era, getting more figures out. But apparently somebody at Hasbro or Lucasfilm are not as big of fans of the Clone Wars as we are. What about a figure from each film or showing away? I don't understand why they can't do that either, because I feel like that's a better way than just going, here's an entire wave dedicated to Andor. Here's an entire Obi-Wan wave, because you run the risk of people who don't enjoy those shows not supporting an entire wave. And if there's too many people that don't like a show and don't care about the characters from said show, that you're going to sit and clog up the pegs from a line where, like Clone Wars or Return of the Jedi or The Force Awakens, for argument's sake, that people would want. So I think this diversity in a line in a wave is so much better. I feel like, you've got 9 films, you've got 5, 6 shows. You see Rebels, Clone Wars, Andor, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka coming up, and Tales of the Jedi. And you even got Vision. So there's 7 shows that you can constantly cycle in and out for each wave. And I think that makes a whole lot more sense than just hoping that people will stick around through one show or whatever. I'm hoping you get your Giant Man HasLab, Jeff, but I'm afraid they'll blow it again in my mind. I really hope they don't, because I feel like as long as they don't go, all right, guys, here's your HasLab Giant Man. He's $330. That's going to be a real problem. But if they can go, we don't need to shoot for the moon here. We'll just aim for the stars. We'll just keep it low. Let's go 200, 250. I think it'll sell really easily. I feel like that's the direction they need to go in. We're seeing Hasbro pivoting with their HasLabs, with their vehicles, with their play sets for the vintage collection. They're hovering around 200 and they're selling out. Jabba's Palace sold out. Let me make sure that it's still sold out on Pulse, but that's what they need to do, because they will sell. People will buy into this stuff, but if they're hoping to make all their money back on stuff, it just doesn't work anymore. And going, well, let's charge this much for it. They don't need to do that. It's right there. And I just feel like they're messing up really hard if they try to go for a big payday all at once, as opposed to just going, all right, well, we'll be content and happy to have people buying it. Of course, I can't find it on there, but yeah. Updated Empire Boba Fett. The peg on my Empire Boba jetpack broke off. That's not good. Joshua Kincaid. Modernization. LOL. Giant person. Yes. Have to be cognizant of that. Keith. Maybe they should HasLab everything. That way people actually want is what would get made. I mean, I'm curious if that kind of thing would work, where it's like, I think something completely way off base would be for us to get a vote. Like, what character would you like to see as a Hasbro Pulse exclusive? Would you back this figure for $30? Maybe for Pong Krell, I'd do that. But I feel like maybe there's some avenue for them to approach it like this, as opposed to, we've decided, and because you didn't back this $350, $400 project, it's a failure and it's your fault because you didn't care about it. It broke a month and a half ago. That is not good. Mattel really missed a big chance of making a great mood a WCW figure. No, they really messed up with putting a Sting figure together with so many bad parts, because I would have bought every Surfer Sting figure they made, but they gave him the bad, terrible Batista torso, and he couldn't put his arms together. He couldn't have enough articulation to give this Sting howl. But there's still an opportunity to get a WCW Great Muta. I wouldn't even mind a Super Black Ninja from Florida. Y'all have a good night. Cheers to you as well, Joshua. All right, well, I think that is a good point, because we're running into an hour 40, and let's wrap this bad boy up. So, fellas, everybody out there watching, thank you so much. As always, let me know in the comments what you want to talk about next week. I have some ideas, but I love hearing from you all. May the 4th made it really, really easy to come up with a topic for tonight, but I always want to hear what you guys want to talk about as well. So thank you so much, as always, for watching this episode of Lyles Figure Files.